when I started the project, I made a phone call to somebody who lived in Canmore and said, you know, I need to find a cinematographer for this project. And she said, the first guy you got to call is Pat Morrow. The only way I really knew about Pat was from this woman. She said he's a great cinematographer, he's a great photographer, he's a great guy to be with, he'd be perfect for this. And when Pat and I did our first shoot together up at this very remote lodge in the Selkirk Mountains, the guy next to me, a Canadian guy, sort of elbowed me at one point and said, "Do you know who he is?" And I said, "Yeah, it's Pat Morrow." He said, No, do you know who he is?" And I said, "Well, I guess not." And this person then went in to sort of fill in who Pat was in terms of Canadian mountaineering lore.
The report is as follows. On October 7th, Patrick Morrow, Lockpot City, and Pemba Doherty achieved the summit of Mount Everest. Oh, we did.
He was the second Canadian to climb Everest, and at that time it was a very small club. I don't know, he must have been 100-and-something person to reach the top. He was in for the adventure, but he wasn't in for the fame. That's what I would consider Pat to be more than anything. It was an adventurer.
As humans, we all tell stories, right? You sit around the fire and thousands of years ago or millions of years ago, however long we've been around, you tell stories. And you share your adventures and what you've done in life with your tribe. And Pat is kind of the elder of our tribe of storytellers out there. He's the guy who goes out. He was the first person really to climb to the highest point on the 7 continents and all these amazing things. And he brings these stories back.
I just remember him being a go-getter. He was always busy. He was always taking pictures and just go, go, go. He's still the same way today. Go, go, go. I don't think he's lost a step. Just keeps on rolling.
I think Pat was really lucky when he was growing up. He knew what he wanted to do. He wanted to be a photographer. And for a young kid from Kimberley to come to Calgary and go to SAIT was a really important stepping stone for him.
Had an opportunity when I was 19, midway through my program, to work as an intern at the Calgary Herald as a photographer. And it was one of my instructors at SAIT that told me about the program. I was really grateful to SAIT because they said, okay, take a year off, go and do this photography internship, and then we'll welcome you back to complete your degree or your certificate, which is what I did. My love of nature developed alongside my love of photography and documenting nature. That's the sort of style that I developed over the years, was not to photograph nature itself, but have the human form in nature doing something or other.
He's one of the few guys I can call up and say, hey, I've got this great idea, we should go climb icebergs, and you'll shoot it and it'll be really cool, and he's in. He's always up for it, and he's sort of this timeless individual also, right? The guy's not young anymore, let's face it, and I'm not young anymore, but we're still out doing these adventures and having a lot of fun.
Let's get away, boys! Run away!
I think he's the kind of guy that just combined his passions. Period. I think it just was a lifestyle. I'm not so sure he was so concerned about paying the bills, but having a great excuse to go on another adventure.
Pat used to say jokingly back in the day that if it weren't for Baiba, he'd still be living in his van. And he was joking about that, but those of us who know Baiba, we know that's the truth. and in all of these adventures, Baiba's name is always right there as well. So you can't forget that. And yeah, she's a great part of Pat and vice versa.
Being in the mountains together is where we thrive. And that's where it all makes sense, and that's where you really are who you want to be.
As quiet as he is, I think part of the reason he's so quiet is he listens. And makes him a man rich with soul and integrity. and wisdom, I'd say.
I think Pat's life has inspired a lot of people to chase at least a small portion of their own dream in whatever way they can. And I think that's a unique gift to the world and pretty cool.
And I think he's at a point where he's really looking back at what he's done and how can he give back to the community as well. And he feels he has something to give back now, because with all of his all these wonderful experiences and things he's lived through. And I think with the award from SAIT really has given him, yeah, just a chance to say thanks to all the people who've helped him along the way, and just a sense of gratitude.